Baseball season's underway, which means over 4,800 regular season games are upon us. And in those games, we'll see what each team decides to put out, not only on the field, but also in the dressing room. We're talking uniforms, people. And ever since Nike took over in 2020, they brought their own touch to Major League Baseball, for better or for worse. Starting this year, each team is allowed 4 uniforms plus a City Connect, as if it's the NFL's uniform guidelines, dubbed the 4+1 rule, if you may, as Nike wanted to streamline each team's uniform lineups. They call it streamlining, I call it cost cutting. It's a rule that simultaneously makes my eyes roll, but it's also justified in some cases, as we'll get into as the video progresses. City Connect is far better than Color Rush was, so I don't see these rules going away anytime soon unless the teams and fans put up a fight or the rules change once Manfred steps down or Nike's contract with MLB runs out. Who knows? And on top of that, this is the first year we'll be seeing advertisements on jerseys, specifically on the sleeves, making the NFL the only one of the 4 major North American leagues to not have ads on their jerseys, only the practice ones. I'm not a fan of this and would rather see ads continue to be on the field, but so be it. I won't try to dwell on it. So today we'll look at every team's home, road, and any alternate uniforms they may have, and I'll also bring up any uniforms that teams could add wherever necessary. It is also worth noting that not every team has a City Connect jersey and that Nike teases and debuts them during the season rather than show them before the season begins. My theory is that due to the uncertain futures of the Rays and Athletics in Tampa and Oakland, we won't see every team with the City Connect until those issues have been solved. This is just a guess, they haven't released an official statement yet. No doubt this video will become obsolete at some point during the season, but that's why I plan to rank City Connect uniforms some other day. Now I'm going to rank them from Great Britain, the worst of the worst, needs a redesign, meh, good redesign, which applies to uniforms from 2012 to now, decent, and classic. And I want to get this out of the way because it applies to all of these uniforms. I've never been a fan of Nike just slapping their logo on the front of the jerseys rather than on the sleeve. As mentioned in a previous video, it's like a giant zit on an otherwise perfect face, and with ads this year, we'll have 2 zits like in the NBA and NHL. At least with the ads on the sleeves, they'll be easier to ignore. On top of that, I want to remind everyone that this is strictly opinion based. We as humans will never agree on everything. With all that said, here is every 2023 MLB uniform ranked. Chicago Cubs. The Cubs look is timeless with the classic pinstripes at home and a nice font on their road jersey. I've always liked the blue jersey with the alternate logo sporting the C with the Cub. Some people don't like it and says it looks like the C is eating the Cub, but I absolutely disagree. I would like to see the blue jersey worn at home more often like back in the day. I was hesitant about their City Connect when it was first revealed in 2021, especially with matching blue pants, but after a year, I got used to it and now I'm okay with this look. I do miss their old road hat with the red bill that disappeared after 2008. Maybe bring it back with the road jersey or introduce a second alternate that uses it? I don't know. May seem predictable, but I feel this is classic. St. Louis Cardinals. As much as I don't like the Cardinals, I gotta hand it to them, they've got fantastic uniforms. The regular home and cream throwback are both excellent, clean looks. I do wish they'd put St. Louis on the road uniform personally, and I know there are many Cardinal fans that despise the powder blue road alternate because it's not a true throwback and it gets worn more than the gray road uniform with the navy blue hat. I'm okay with the powder blue jersey, even if most powder blue uniforms don't do it for me. Oh, and I like the blue alternate home hat. Overall, classic. Milwaukee Brewers. After donning these uniforms from 2000 to 2019, they went back to their roots and brought the classic glove logo back full time. However, they kept the blue as a navy shade rather than the classic royal blue shade. It's not too bad though, but I do wish that at least the pinstripe alternate donned royal blue. The blue road alternate is the only one of Milwaukee's 4 uniforms in this lineup to feature an alternate hat with a yellow face. I even like how both road uniforms feature an updated version of their previous logo on one of the sleeves. The Brewers also have a City Connect uniform in baby blue for both the Milwaukee Summer Sky, sure. And it also references past powder blue road uniforms in Brewers history. I'm glad this one doesn't have the same colored pants, as this is a case with many City Connect uniforms, and I dig how the jersey says Brew Crew, but I'm iffy on the hat. It sports Milwaukee's airport code, MKE, and has Milwaukee's area code 414 written inside. This is cool and all, but I think I'd prefer having an alternate logo on the hat. I guess this hat design is cool if you're a Brewers fan, but I'm not feeling it. However, for the most part, it's definitely a good redesign. Cincinnati Reds. The Reds uniforms haven't changed much since debuting in 2007, with the exception of the red alternate. Originally, it was just straight up a red version of the white jersey, but now it says Reds in the same font as some of their old military uniforms they've sported, and the word mark. It looks okay on the red uniform, I guess, but I much prefer Majestic's take on the red jersey over Nike's if I had to choose. I'm also surprised Nike hasn't debuted a pinstripe alternate for the Reds like they did for the Brewers, or at least a throwback like the Big Red Machine uniforms. Maybe someday. The home jersey is a nice clean look, as well as the road uniform, with both sporting different hats. But even with all that said, these uniforms are classics. Pittsburgh Pirates. Pirates uniforms were redone in 2009, but they've had some changes since Nike took over. While the home uniform remains nice and clean, the road uniforms, plural, adopted the Bucks' old cursive font that the team hadn't seen since 2000, which I love, along with a black version of the road jersey. And then there's the controversial P black jersey, which I never minded. They did eliminate their camo alternate to comply with the new rules, and it's a uniform that I honestly forgot about. I find it redundant to have two black jerseys. I think I'd prefer to have one of them be replaced with any of their throwbacks. I also find it redundant that their alternate hat is just the regular hat, but with excessive outlining on the logo. With all the redundancy in the Pirates' current uniform catalog, I can only rate it as decent. And yes, I'm aware their City Connect will be revealed at the end of June. New York Mets. Ever since the main home uniform was exclusively pinstripes, I've been satisfied with the Mets home attire. Their road jersey and the blue alternate are also awesome, even with the black jersey making its return much to my dismay, but people like them, so I guess I can't complain too much. I haven't been missing their former blue alternate road jersey or even the plain white jersey, as I always felt those were redundant and bland compared to their regular pinstripes and blue jerseys. Overall, these are classic. Philadelphia Phillies. 2022 wasn't the year for the city of Philadelphia, but they still look better than most. I've always liked their regular home jersey and road jersey, though I wouldn't mind seeing them put Philadelphia across the chest on the road jersey, as this picture proves it's possible. Unfortunately for this year, because they have to fit an advertisement on a sleeve, no more numbers on one of the sleeves. Why couldn't they put the ad on the other sleeve? I don't know. Their cream colored throwback is okay, but I much prefer the powder blue throwback, and yet the powder blue one got sacrificed. Onto their red uniform. I've always liked this and was glad that they brought it back in 2021 after it was shelved before the 2018 season. With how lukewarm I am, I can't rank the Phillies any higher than decent. Washington Nationals. In 2022, the Nationals made history, besides trading Josh Bell and Juan Soto to the Padres. They officially changed their home uniform more times than they did when they were the Expos. This home uniform started life as an alternate before the Nats decided to make it the home one in 2022. The font spelling out the team name is nice and matches two of their other uniforms, but I'm not feeling the hat. They've got the Capitol Dome with the Washington Senators Block W logo, which doesn't match the rest of the uniform, and frankly I feel is too complicated for its own good. I find it to be ugly, and frankly I prefer the simplicity of a red hat with the curly W. I like my tri-colored hats, don't get me wrong, I just don't like this one. The road jersey looks alright and was an upgrade compared to the Nats' first road jersey that I've already touched on in every MLB team's worst uniform. The addition of red on the city name and on the hat has helped brighten things up a bit. As for alternates, well, I'd like to inform you that outside of City Connect, there are none. Of course, the Nats City Connect jersey references DC's cherry blossoms all on a dark gray jersey, but I can see why they did that. If this jersey was white or red with the cherry blossoms, I could imagine people saying it reminds them of Valentine's Day or Mother's Day. so I'll cut the Nats some slack, even if I don't care too much for the abbreviation of Washington, D.C. across the chest. But back to the alternates. I'm amazed how the Nats in a couple of years went from having 6 uniforms, with 6 different hats might I add, to just 3. And they didn't even do a good job phasing them out. Why no navy blue jersey? I thought you wanted to save that after it proved to be a good luck charm in your World Series run? What about the red jersey? I don't understand the thinking behind this. With the Nats being up for sale, I won't be surprised if their uniforms get overhauled. Sorry Nats fans, you'll all give me natitude in the comments, but this is our first meh. Miami Marlins. After sporting Jeffrey Loria's atrocious redesign, the Marlins duds have been pretty good, even if their new M logo kind of mimic what the Brewers had up until 2020. I get they have the city name on the home jersey to get the locals to actually like them for once, but I still wish it said Marlins. Hopefully one day, my dreams will come true. The road jersey is also fine, but I'm not a fan of the black jersey having the team name also in black, because unlike the Phillies one, I can't read it. It's the only jersey in their current lineup that says Marlins, and you can barely see it. The teal jersey with their M logo that I don't believe they ever wore outside of spring training was replaced with their 1993 throwbacks, which are magnificent. And that City Connect, God, that's gorgeous. No wonder it was one of the first City Connect uniforms to be released. Even with my complaints, the Marlins are a good redesign. Atlanta Braves. The Braves haven't really changed their uniforms in my lifetime, that being the mid-90s, though we've seen plenty of additions to their lineup that they still sport today. The home and road jerseys will always be timeless. I love the red home alternate and the navy blue road alternate, and the cream colored alternate was sacrificed to meet the new guidelines, which I'm okay with. It wasn't bad, I just didn't care too much for it. And for this year, they've got a City Connect which honors Hank Aaron. I like the idea, but I have some concerns. The uniform format is based off of those 70s uniforms that the Braves were wearing when Aaron hit 715, a uniform that I like a lot. However, all they did was take the team name off of the front and replace it with the A on just one side. I would have preferred if the A went across the chest in the same large font that the Braves use on a regular basis. But even with that said, I still love the style because I love the original. And with that, the Braves uniforms are classics. San Francisco Giants. I was ecstatic ever since the Giants put last names back on the home uniforms in 2021 after a 20-year hiatus. The home and road uniforms are some of the most beautiful in the league, and I mean that sincerely. I also always like the black and orange alternates they have, though I miss the gray road alternate that sports the logo. I've already said my piece on their City Connect jersey. It is terrible, and honestly one of the worst Nike has come up with, but thankfully, the Giants uniforms are absolute classics. Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers have hardly changed their uniforms ever since they moved from Brooklyn to Los Angeles back in 1958. The home jersey is iconic for better or for worse, same with the road jersey sporting either the city name or the team name. Also, very cheeky that the Dodgers exclusively wear their alternate road jersey in the playoffs. The City Connect jersey answered the calls of, I assume, some people's desires for a blue Dodgers jersey ever since it was killed off in 1999. I like it, and I dig it reading Los Dodgers across the front to give back to LA's Hispanic community. I don't care for the matching blue pants, and I think I'd prefer white pants with this. The hat also says Los Dodgers? Well, it did in its first year, 2021. This was changed last year to sport their logo with a black bill, making this the only City Connect to make a change so far. But despite that, the Dodgers jerseys are classics. Arizona Diamondbacks. It seems ever since day one, the D-backs have always had uniforms that divide fans in half. We started with the 90s color scheme of purple and teal before changing to the Coyotes color scheme of Sedona red, black, and tan in 2007, followed by the revamp full of snake patterns in 2016, leading us to the snake patterns being removed in 2020 when Nike took over. For this year, the D-backs have done away with having two home whites and have decided to keep what used to be the alternate home white that includes teal. This color combination just does not work. I like teal, but it does not go with Sedona red and black at all, not in this amount at least. The gray road jersey remains the same, oddly enough, and we've still got the Sedona red alternate as well as the black alternate, which are all okay. As for hats, they've gotten rid of the snake logo hat and kept the black hat with the red A away at home and wear the red hat on the road. For their City Connect, I dig how it's a nice sand color with Serpientes written across the front, giving back to Phoenix's Hispanic community. Honestly, I won't be shocked if the D-backs get new uniforms in the near future because frankly, they need them. I can see the team going back to purple and teal, especially after the Coyotes stopped sharing an arena with Arizona State and inevitably moved to Houston or Quebec City or wherever. Colorado Rockies. Of the four 90s expansion teams, the Rockies are the only ones to have never made major changes to their uniforms apart from adding and subtracting alternates. The biggest change they made to their main uniforms was putting last names on their home jerseys and having their road jersey say Colorado after having it say Rockies to begin with and removing the pinstripes from said road jersey. The black vest was finally retired this year. It wasn't bad, but it was severely dated. Maybe it's just me, but the home jersey is just the White Sox but with a different front. And I like the purple jersey, but why not have that one say Rockies? I think the day the Rockies get sold and the fans rejoice at that revelation, we'll see new uniforms. Their City Connect uniforms, on the other hand, are the most creative uniform they've ever had, having it based on the intricate Colorado State license plate. But right now, I think the Rockies are in need of an overhaul. San Diego Padres. With no more Chargers, the Padres became San Diego's only major professional team. So after 3 seasons of wearing the most boring uniforms ever conceived in the 21st century, the Friars decided to go back to their roots. They brought back the brown and yellow color scheme they had from 1969 to 1984, and even pinstripes that they had from 1985 to 2001. The home jersey, I love it. I also like the main colors of the road jersey. I just think the inclusion of pinstripes is ugly. Yes, this is a callback, but I just don't like pinstripes on gray, or sand in this case. Sorry. What used to be their main road uniform is now an alternate, which I'm not surprised by. It seems like no matter how different the Padres try to do things, they always inevitably evolve to normal core. It does make me wish it said Padres instead like their previous brown alternate, but this is still nice. I do love both of their military uniforms. Thank you, Nike, for allowing them to keep both. And rather controversially, their City Connect is fire. It absolutely screams the city of San Diego. So even with some questionable decisions in my eyes, the Padres are a good redesign. Chicago White Sox. It's amazing how easy it is to forget that the Sox are the reason black became very popular to add to uniforms in the 90s and 2000s. What the Sox did was ask, what if the Yankees were the Raiders? And this was the result. The home jersey is simply gorgeous, and I've always loved the classic cursive font for the road jersey, but man, I love their black jersey the most. Even 32 years after its debut, it's still as fresh as it was on day one. And like I mentioned in uniforms my fans hate, I love how the 83 winning ugly throwbacks are what they wear at home on Sundays. Unlike the Cubs in their City Connect jerseys, I instantly fell in love with the Sox City Connect uniforms. Black with white pinstripes is a reversal of their standard white uniform. The Shy logo on the hat, written in Old English font, is fantastic, and I love how the jersey says Southside across the chest, coinciding with the Cubs saying Wrigleyville. Yeah, this was a gush fest, not gonna lie, but still, the Sox jerseys are an absolute classic. Minnesota Twins. I ran a poll on my community tab to see what you all thought of these uniforms, and as I expected, the results were mixed. I'm mixed myself, as I think there are good ideas here, I just don't like the execution. Terms I'd use to describe these are soft and underwhelming. The TC hat remains the same, no problem. The home uniform, ish. I didn't like how they removed the home pinstripes in 2015, as I thought it made the uniform look naked. Here, we've still got no pinstripes, and without any outlining on the team name, it looks even more naked. I cheered in 2010 when Minnesota became rid of the ugly pinstripes on their road uniform, but now they're back, but they're so subtle it begs to ask why even bother. The font from Minnesota looks like it was ripped from the Cubs City Connect jersey, and even more so on the navy blue alternate, and then we get to the M hat. I'm glad we've brought this logo back, but they screwed up. Instead of reusing the old logo, now we've got what looks like the Marlins 2012 to 2018 logo. Ew. It looks so generic, and it pains me how they screwed this one up. And finally, the cream colored uniform. I dig how it says Twin Cities, but I would think they'd want to save that for their inevitable City Connect. Personally, Personally, I'd rather they kept their red jersey, the powder blue, or even their pinstripe throwback. And here, I would say, well, it looks decent in play over pictures. Nope, they all look like crap to me. I'm not feeling this one. I think another redesign would suffice for the Twins. Detroit Tigers. One of the few teams left to just have a home and road jersey with no alternates in sight, yet. The Tigers' biggest change to at least their home uniform was changing the iconic D logo to match the D on the hat. It weirded me out the first year or so, but I got used to it. I do enjoy the orange that the road jersey features, and frankly it all wraps up in Detroit being a classic. Short, sweet, and to the point. Wouldn't mind the blue jerseys making a comeback. Cleveland Guardians. Out of the three major teams in North America to change their name in uniforms, Cleveland turns out the best compared to the Redmanders and the Elkskimos. The name, that's debatable. The Gindians, as I like to call them, basically took their pre-existing Indians uniforms and changed both the font and the team name. Fortunately, they maintain a classic look even if I still don't like how shafted the navy blue jersey has been. But regardless, the home white, road gray, and red alternates still dazzle, much like when they had Indians and the city name written across in the old font. As for more positives, this C logo is what the Indian C logo should have been, even if it's still inferior to Chief Wahoo in my eyes. Also, I hate this thing. But objectively speaking, these are decent. I hesitate to call it a redesign since it's barely redesigned at all, but I also hesitate to call it classic because they changed the name. So unfortunately, Cleveland, you're stuck in between. Kansas City Royals. The Royals slightly retooled their uniforms last year, getting rid of the gold alternate that they held on to after celebrating their World Series win during the 2016 season, as well as new road uniforms. The home white jersey is classic Royals as ever, and their powder blue alternate is one of the few powder blue jerseys I can get behind. And on top of that, their powder blues now have matching pants for select games. I can easily see this evolving into all powder blue full time in the near future. The road jersey went back to a block text after sporting matching cursive from 2006 to 2021, as this is meant to be the same font the Royals road jersey sported from 1971 to 1982. It's as alright as it was before 2006, but I'm iffy about the royal blue alternate. After having it don the logo since 2014, I was hoping they'd go back to having the team name across the front. No, they opted to have it be a road alternate. It looks okay, but surely it could have been better. The font is at least better than the boring Cleveland font I hate so much. As for their City Connect, this is very nice looking and I like it. I dig how they decided to use navy blue, and the font for KC is pleasing to my eyes and homages the fountains that Kauffman Stadium sports in the outfield. Overall, this is classic. New York Yankees. Oh, the Yankees. Even with George Steinbrenner no longer being with us, his sons keep his policies. No facial hair or long hair, no names on any of the in-game jerseys, and no alternates. Their home and road uniforms are practically the same as they were since seemingly the beginning of time, and for good reason. This look is timeless, and every team tries to match the success of this iconic uniform combo. But even still, wouldn't mind last names on at least the road jerseys, or a navy blue alternate. Still though, classic. Boston Red Sox. Moving to the Yankees' arch nemesis, the Sox have been more daring with their uniforms comparatively. Unlike New York, Boston has alternates and put last names on at least their road jerseys. Their home jersey hasn't changed too terribly much, and I much prefer this version of the road jersey compared to when they eliminated the red briefly in the early 2010s. I've always dug their red home alternate and even enjoy seeing the blue road alternate whenever they are worn. I've already said my piece about their City Connect, and they still look like the Savannah Bananas or UCLA, but regardless, classic. Tampa Bay Rays. Ever since dropping Devil from the name and changing from green to navy blue, the Rays have been a formidable force on a small budget, even if their future in Tampa is cloudy. They took the opposite approach to their uniforms compared to what the Marlins would start doing 4 years after these initial uniforms debut, and that's having only the team name on all of their jerseys, or at least it's what it used to be. I've always liked their home white and alternate navy blue jerseys. The alternate Columbia blue jersey used to be cool when it had the team name across the front, and they even paired it up with the old school manta ray logo on the hat starting in 2018. But starting last year, it doesn't say Rays anymore, does it? Instead, there's a sunburst on the left side, and they got rid of the manta ray hat with this uniform. This is incredibly underwhelming and quite the downgrade compared to the original. But thank you Jesus, the Rays brought the rainbow rainbow Devil Rays throwbacks back. However, that's 4 uniforms and none of them are City Connect, and I've said nothing about a gray jersey. Well, the navy and Columbia blue jerseys will be serving as the Rays road jerseys thanks to this stupid rule, though they'll still be worn at home as well. I wouldn't doubt new uniforms are coming in the near future to coincide with either a new stadium or a move to elsewhere like Montreal. It does feel strange for them to not have a gray road jersey, but to be frank, I was never a fan of it anyways, though I hate what they did to the Columbia blue jersey. But overall, I think they're decent. Toronto Blue Jays. Ever since the Blue Jays changed uniforms in 2012, they've looked spectacular, and not just compared to how honestly lackluster they looked ever since getting rid of their classic uniforms after the 1996 season, with the dreaded 2004 redesign that I already gave my 2 thoughts on in every MLB team's worst uniform, and that's before you get into the play on the field. But onto this iteration. Home jersey, perfect. Road jersey, perfect. Blue alternate, perfect. And this all powder blue jersey, it's one of the few uses of powder blue that I can say I like, navy blue hat included. Oh, and their Canada Day jerseys are perfect too. Hey Nike, why don't you do 4th of July jerseys for the other 29 teams? New Era is the only one that's even bothered. You know what else New Era bothered to give us? White-faced alternate hats. This is amazing. Overall, obviously perfect and a good redesign. Baltimore Orioles. Despite falling on hard times, the Orioles uniforms are typically pretty good. Their home jersey has always been great, and thank you Nationals for having the O's slap Baltimore on their road jerseys again. I also prefer the cartoon Oriole used on their cap over the realistic one they had in the 90s and 2000s. Nothing wrong with that logo, I just prefer one over the other. I also love both the orange and black alternates, and I also lol that the black alternates hat is the same hat that the logo is wearing. Yeah, classic, and yes, their City Connect is going to debut in late May this year. Texas Rangers. So to answer a question I posed in every MLB team's worst uniform as to why all of the Rangers uniforms only said Texas at the time, yes, it was to establish they were the state's team. Thank you to everyone that commented that. Anyways, the road and blue jerseys didn't change at all from the Majestic days, but the home uniforms have been controversial. I'll admit the Rangers have never had the most exciting uniforms, something I think sums up the Rangers as a whole. I don't mind the font they chose, and I'm admittedly lukewarm on the powder blue alternate, hat included. I don't dislike it, I just don't care. Unfortunately, due to the new rule, the Rangers sacrificed their red alternate. Sad. I can only assume they sacrificed that instead of the powder blue to protect Nike's ego, and God forbid Nike cut off a uniform that they made, even though they did that with the Twins powder blues. Joking aside, these uniforms are not bad, but they don't really do much for me. It's all a little meh. So while editing this, the Rangers City Connect uniforms were revealed, and on first impressions, I like the font used for the state abbreviation on the hat and jersey. Not so sure about white shirts with black pants. I'll save any full thoughts for an inevitable City Connect ranking, which at this rate will be 2 or 3 years from now. Houston Astros. The defending world champs. The Astros have been pretty consistent ever since switching back to navy blue and orange in 2013 to coincide with their switch from the NL to the AL. Their home whites are as clean as ever, as well as their road grays. I've always enjoyed their orange alternates, and I prefer this iteration of the navy blue alternate that they started sporting in 2015 after having it look like a batting practice jersey from 2013 to 2014. I even like how it integrates the old school rainbow guts. Guess one of them had to. The City Connect, I've said my piece. I like how it says Space City, I'm just not a fan of the execution. Overall, I'd say this was a good redesign. Oh yeah, their World Series winner uniforms. Gaudy as they all tend to be, with the addition of gold anywhere they could fit it. Oakland Athletics. On to the future Las Vegas Athletics. The A's home white and gray road uniforms have been the same ever since a minor tweak in 1993, and they've always looked good. Also in 1993, we got this beautiful green alternate, which was basically the home uniform but green, that the A's could wear at home or on the road. In 2011, they gained a yellow alternate, which led to the green jersey being changed in 2014 to essentially match it. The yellow jersey is no longer with us, but this incarnation of the green jersey remains, and I never warmed up to it. It just doesn't have the pizzazz of the previous green jersey. Call it nostalgia blindness, I call it a downgrade. I also don't like how this uniform made the A's change their road hat, which I think pales Angels compared to the original, and yet idiot me owns one. Now their second green uniform is a throwback with Oakland on it. When they introduced this in 2018, people thought it was a sign that the A's would stay in Oakland on top of the Rooted in Oakland ad campaign. Oh, how naive we all were. It's not bad looking, and I love how they used a lighter shade of green to call back to their history. It's just too bad that it'll probably be gone soon. Their uniforms overall are decent, but I won't be shocked if the eventual move also gives us a uniform change. We'll have to wait and see. Los Angeles Angels. Now the hopefully Anaheim Angels again. Saw the team already. The Angels uniforms have always looked good ever since debuting in 2002, coinciding with a World Series win that same year, followed by Disney selling the team to Artie Moreno. And because of Artie and in agreement with the city of Anaheim, the road jerseys are forced to say Angels across the front after having Anaheim in 2002. They still look good regardless, as well as the gorgeous home whites and red alternate. The City Connect uniform is meant to be inspired by California beach culture, brah. This is emphasized by the sandy color of the uniform, as it's an off-white, and I guess the font looks like something you'd find on a beach towel. I don't know. Honestly, the Padres did a better job referencing California culture than this. Frankly, they could have said it was meant to reference Baywatch and it'd still have the same effect. I'm surprised they didn't try to add navy blue to this, as the Angels still insist it's part of their color scheme. Nice try, guys. But using it to outline the team name hardly counts. If that's how it worked, most teams would count black in their color schemes. Tell you what, add throwbacks to your uniform lineup and maybe you can keep navy blue in your color scheme. I like the jerseys even despite Artie Moreno's insistence that the Angels are LA. Sure, idiot. But with my problems, I don't think I can rank them any higher than decent. Seattle Mariners. After passing the postseason drought torch to the Kings, who just recently passed it to the Jets, the Mariners have also had to tweak their uniform lineup. Their home uniform that they debuted back in 1995 is just as gorgeous as ever, and I've always liked how it looks, probably thanks to Ken Griffey Jr. The road jersey is no longer gray as it was eliminated. In its place, we've got their navy blue jersey, which still looks cool saying Seattle after originally saying Mariners way back in the day. They've also kept their Mariner green jerseys, which I've always liked, as well as their cream colored throwback. In my eyes, they could have gone either way when it came to choosing the gray road jersey or the throwback, though both are good in either case. Overall, they're definitely a classic. We will be seeing a City Connect uniform for them at the beginning of May. So there you go, this year's MLB uniforms. I don't care that it'll be obsolete once the first new City Connect debuts. Those uniforms will get their own video like I've already mentioned. But for the majority of the uniforms, I'm glad to have finally gotten this out despite the delays. So with all of that being said, be sure to comment down below, follow me on Twitter, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you all later.